It was a civil case, not a criminal case. The ramifications, the significance, it's going to play out for a long time, isn't it?
Yeah, look, absolutely. I think it was about as bad a day as you could possibly imagine for Ben Roberts-Smith yesterday. Although it wasn't a criminal case and there's going to be no sentencing and no jail time as a result directly from this case, ultimately there was a judge's finding that he committed 4 murders, and that's about as bad as you could possibly get. And I'd say even in his worst nightmares, he didn't expect yesterday to go quite as badly as that.
It was an interesting case, though, wasn't it? Because, I mean, the answer clearly is yes, but Nick McKenzie, one of the reporters who broke the story with Chris Masters, described it last night on 7:30 as a war crimes trial masquerading as a defamation case. Given the cases you've seen in the past, just talk me through why it was so different.
Yeah, look, well, firstly, this was the biggest defamation case in Australia's history by a mile, and by any measure, whether you look at the cost, 30 to maybe even up to $40 million, 110 sitting days, 42 witnesses from overseas in Afghanistan. By any measure, this was the biggest case we've ever had. True it is that it wasn't a criminal case, so it wasn't decided on the beyond reasonable doubt standard. It also wasn't decided on the normal civil standard of balance of probabilities, because the allegations, effectively murder, those allegations were so serious. It was a standard that's somewhere in between balance of probabilities and beyond reasonable doubt. It's called the Brigginshaw standard. So it was a civil case, but with a slightly higher standard of proof, and that's why another reason why it was unusual. It was also unusual in that they proved the really serious allegations, the murder allegations, and not all of the others. But the court found that those murder allegations effectively swamped those other allegations and made them effectively irrelevant.
Because this is where Ben Roberts-Smith's reputation was on trial here, basically. Defamation cases in the past have been quite difficult for the media to defend. Are we seeing a change?
Well, look, some people have said it's a great day for investigative journalism yesterday, and I agree with that. But it also, in my view, highlights the problems with our defamation laws, that a media company had to stump up $25 million, whatever the precise number is. It's eye-watering. And the fact that a media company had to stump that up to stand by its journalist and its journalism says there's something wrong with the system. The journalist, in some ways, or at least the journalism, was on trial, not Ben Roberts-Smith, because you come to the court in circumstances where Ben Roberts-Smith chooses the fight that's going to be had. He sets the parameters by his statement of claim, and then he comes to court and he doesn't have to prove anything. He doesn't have to prove that he's not a murderer. Nine had the onus of proving that they were right in saying he was a murderer. So it does demonstrate, 20 million times over, it demonstrates the problems with our defamation laws for investigative journalism.
Yeah, but there were changes that were brought in July 2021, and this case didn't fall under those. Will they make a difference, the new defence changes?
Look, those changes were significant and very useful for the media. I won't go into them here. They're not really relevant. If this case had fallen under those changes, it wouldn't, in my view, have made a difference, because truth has always been a defence. It always will be a defence. It always is the best defence, although hard to prove. Nine will give you 20 million reasons why it was hard to prove, but it has always been the best defence. I think the other thing to keep in mind here is this is about as big a own goal as you could imagine. This is not a criminal matter where Ben Roberts-Smith was brought to court by a DPP or some other body. Ben Roberts-Smith chose to bring this case to court. So having chosen to bring it to court, he's had these findings made against him. His reputation is in tatters. He'll, I assume, go bankrupt as a result of this, and there may be other ramifications that flow from it. So you talk about own goals, this is about as big an own goal as you could imagine.
Yeah, we've only just begun to see the ramifications from it all, I'm sure. Justin Quill, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thanks, Lisa.